Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I will showcase a couple of the agencies that are supported by United Way. So stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment.
Why United Way? Because in some way, everyone in our community is touched by your donation to United Way of West Georgia. Yes, everyone. United Way helps 25 local agencies touch thousands of lives, even yours. To cause so many good things to happen, these organizations must have volunteers. Fortunately, more than 2,300 local volunteers are now giving time to the 25 local organizations that United Way of West Georgia helps support. Yes, more than 2,300 volunteers. But more are needed. Please volunteer your time, as well as your financial support. You'll be astonished at what you'll receive in return.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the director of the American Red Cross sitting down with me, Connie Hensley. But before I get to you, Connie, I just want to say that last week we had the kickoff to the United Way campaign for the annual event, and I want to showcase some of the agencies that are recipients of the funding from United Way, and the American Red Cross is one of those agencies. Connie, I want to welcome you to the show first of all.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for mentioning the United Way. We were able to attend the kickoff breakfast and it was great, lots of energy, and we're just very excited and proud to be a United Way supported agency. And you're right, we were able to see, and we see every day, the needs in the communities that the agencies are responding to. And as the Red Cross, we certainly see many of those needs daily as well.
Absolutely, I'm sure. You know, it's unfortunate that you all do see those, but we're very fortunate to have an agency like Red Cross here in our area. Talk a little bit about your role as the director and some of the things that you see on a daily basis.
Sure, and we're very unique in the responses that we do compared to other groups, but I will say that we're the American Red Cross of Central Midwest Georgia, and we serve 20 counties, so we've got a large population.
Yes, I do.
And within our chapter area, we see disasters on a daily basis. And one of the most common things that we respond to as a disaster is a home fire.
Okay.
So we see lots of home fires, and we're able to provide some support and meet the immediate needs of families in those situations. But we support blood drives in the communities. We provide services to our military families and members with our service to armed forces, and of course disaster preparedness is a big part of what we do as well.
Okay, and I know that a lot of the things that you all do, Connie, could not come to fruition without the volunteerism that you all have. Talk a little bit about your volunteers and any training that they have to go through, if you don't mind.
I'll be glad to. You know, the mission of the Red Cross is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. And honestly, without those two pieces, we would not be able to be here providing our services. And our volunteers truly go above and beyond on a daily basis. They answer the phone in the middle of the night to get up to go respond to a disaster. They're always willing to pitch in, lend a hand, and do whatever they can to provide our services. So they're a great group of people, and they're highly trained.
Okay.
When we have volunteers respond to a disaster or help with anything that they do, there's a training process that they go through. So we want them to feel comfortable in their response. That way they're able to provide the services that really do meet the mission of the Red Cross.
Absolutely. You know, so many times we see that volunteers come out and, as you stated, they answer phones, whatever the cause may be. I want to kind of shift a little bit from our community, because as most of us have been watching the news, we've seen, south of, well, to the west of us in Baton Rouge, the flooding and all the things that are taking place there. Currently, talk about any deployment that we have as far as volunteers to that area, and kind of how they assist with the needs there.
I will, and there's just huge devastation in that community, and it's a historic flooding event. So actually all across the country, we've got volunteers there from all 50 states. So it's just a huge volunteer effort. I think we have about 3,200 volunteers all total on the ground helping out. But we actually have some from our chapter, as you mentioned, and we're very proud of them for giving of their time and being willing to go, and they commit to being there for at least 2 weeks. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes a little bit less, but they actually travel to, they're in the Baton Rouge area, they travel there, and they're providing assistance. We have our disaster program manager actually left on Monday, and she is managing a shelter in the community. And I was telling you, she's working on the night shift. She's working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Oh,
and during the day, she's actually in a staff shelter, sleeping on a cot, just like the people who are, in the shelter are spending the night on a cot with their Red Cross blanket, and she's experiencing that same thing. So our volunteers really do commit to being there, and they care so much, and they're there to make sure that the people who are in need really do have their needs met. We've got 3 other volunteers who are actually there as well.
Okay.
And one is what we call, he is not actually there, he is virtually deployed, so he's able to stay at home and via computer and phone. He actually works in mental health. He's a mental health professional, and so he's able to provide that counseling and that care to the residents who may need him.
Absolutely. We never really think about what an individual may be going through when they're in a situation like that. To think your home one day is completely underwater, and everything, your personal, your valuables, everything is gone pretty much. So talk about when a volunteer arrives on the scene, let's say a fire, for example. They arrive on the scene. How do they assess and make those assessments as far as it goes?
Through their training, they kind of learn the things to look for and the questions to ask. And a lot of times when it is a fire, they will probably go up and introduce themselves to the first responder, who will then help them connect to the resident. And then they'll just ask some questions. How can we help? Do you have a place to stay? And then they can quickly assess the damage, and they're really there to meet those immediate needs of food, clothing, shelter, make sure the family has what they need right then. And then I will say, we don't close a case right after that. We follow up. We have follow-up caseworkers who will call the family back, ask how are you doing? Are there additional needs that are not met that we can assist with? So we continue to follow up with the family until we're sure that they're back on the road to recovery.
Very good. And unfortunately, I had a family member that suffered a fire, and the American Red Cross was right there, Johnny, on the spot to help them out, with a voucher to get lodging and food and things of that nature. So I've seen, not only hear about, but I've seen and witnessed firsthand the immediate response and the quick and the friendliness and the caringness of the American Red Cross too. And I want to go back just a moment. I failed to ask, we were talking about Baton Rouge. I understand that there's still a number of persons and people still in shelters. Talk a little bit about that.
There's still about 1,600 people staying in shelters right now. At the peak, let me look at my numbers. I don't want to get those wrong. We've had 62,000 overnight stays in shelters. So, and as the shelter population continues to decrease, as people are able to get back into their homes, our response will, our volunteers will change in what they're doing. So we may not need as many volunteers working in the shelter, but they may be out doing other things in the community, distributing bulk items like mops and brooms and cleanup kits or comfort kits, different things like that.
Okay. And we talk about volunteers, and you all are a United Way agency, but if someone was watching the show, Connie, and they wanted to perhaps donate some of those items that you mentioned, is there an opportunity for that?
The best way to help us is to make a financial contribution, because that way when we're assisting, whether it's a home fire or in a large-scale disaster, we are able to give the family financial assistance, then they can make some decisions on their own. We work with a lot of partners who are there to accept those donated items. Like a lot of times people have clothes they want to contribute and things like that. We just don't have the capability to process those, but our partners like Goodwill and Salvation Army, they know exactly what to do. They have processes and procedures in place, and they can then help get those items back out. So great community partners, and we all work together, because in any disaster there's not one agency that can do everything. We all have particular pieces that we play, and then working together is how we're able to assist the families and get them fully back to recovery.
Okay, well, very good. And as we're entering into the season of hurricane month, and if we've been watching the news, we see that there's one down in the Gulf of Mexico there, perhaps some impact to our area, and I think there was 2 headed out towards Hawaii. How do the American Red Cross kind of prepare for these seasonal events?
We are always kind of aware and on the watch, and I know, in fact, right here in Georgia, our disaster partners have been planning and meeting and talking about, okay, if it hits here, what do we do, and do we have things staged? Do we have, volunteers in place, ready to go? Do we have equipment? So there are ongoing planning meetings that take place, especially leading up to a hurricane that we know is coming. So we have a little bit of time as the predictions come in that we can kind of assess what we think might happen, and then be ready to go. We have shelters identified already that we could open, working with partners. So we do so much in advance to be ready. It's just, you can't really have something happen and then get going. You've got to have all that work in advance.
That's right, that proper planning.
That's right.
Absolutely. And again, I wanted to go back to like volunteerism, Connie, and I know that this time of the year, like I said, we see hurricanes come in, and you all may have fires coupled with that and other things like that. Volunteerism, is there an opportunity for people to volunteer to assist you all?
There is always a need to volunteer, or need for volunteers. We would love to have people, ring our phones off the hook to volunteer. Yes, the needs are always there for volunteers. You can do anything from answering the phone to helping with a fundraising event to deploying to help in a large-scale disaster. Okay,
well, very good. If you don't mind giving your contact information before we close out.
Sure, it is, our office number is 706-884-5818. Or you can always email me. It's connie.hensler, CONNIE.HENSLER at redcross.org.
All right, well, very good. You mentioned a moment ago that your fires are probably the most common occurrence that you all see. And I know that the month of October is going to be Fire Prevention Month. Talk a little bit about what's going to be taking place during that month.
This is the 3rd year of our Home Fire campaign, and it's a wonderful program. It's actually a door-to-door neighborhood event where you install smoke alarms. And so we're partnering with the LaGrange Fire Department and the Troup County Fire Department on October 15th. And we will be in neighborhoods that they have helped identify. We'll go out in teams, and we'll actually ask, do you have a working smoke alarm? And have you practiced a fire escape plan? Do you have a meeting place outside the home? And so we really do some education. We install the alarms. They're totally free. And they're 10-year lithium battery alarms. So once they're installed, you need to check them every month. We would never say don't do that, but check them every month. But you shouldn't have to replace the batteries. They should last, and then you have that precaution in case you do have a fire, and it's going to help you get out. I mean, statistics really show that warning helps people get out, and the practicing of the plan and kind of knowing what to do beforehand saves lives and prevents injuries.
Absolutely. Well, Connie, I just want to thank you for joining us today and just sharing this information, and just want to say thank you for all that you do for our community, and plus the other 19 other communities, and even the other states that you all have volunteers in. So thank you very much for what you do here and abroad, okay?
Thank you so much.
And by all means, community, let's make sure that we give to United Way so we can reach our goal, and we can continue to fund agencies like the American Red Cross. Thank you so much, Connie. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment.
Nobody wants to be stopped by a law enforcement officer.
Everyone wants to feel safe.
So we've trained our officers to first listen and then explain.
We ask if you have contact with one of our officers, you listen, give him an opportunity to explain, comply with his requests, and if there's a problem, contact us so that we can investigate your complaint.
Listen, explain, comply, then complain.
Our safety and yours matters.
Why United Way? Because 99 cents of every dollar donated to United Way of West Georgia stays right here to help your neighbors. Yes, 99 cents. United Way makes every penny count. You can count on United Way, and United Way of West Georgia is counting on you. Please give today.
Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have sitting down with me one of the agencies that United Way supports. I have Success by 6 Director Gail Gordon. Gail, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you, and you know, this is something that I've been involved with for quite some time, and you've been involved with it, and that is Success by 6. And I know that a lot of our viewing audience may not necessarily know what is Success by 6. Help us to understand what is that, Gail, if you don't mind.
Well, actually, Success by 6 is now an agency of United Way, but it is a collaboration where we work with people out in the community, in the government field, the business field, education, health, to come together to try to help children be ready to start school, because our education starts way before pre-K or kindergarten. So it really starts at birth or before birth. So we're trying to get people to come together to make this a goal.
Absolutely. And you know, it is so important in success, but it says just that, Success by 6.
Exactly.
You're talking about the early learning and all of those things. A lot of times I always say, and I know you agree, parents are the first teachers of their children. And I know that you and in the office, Pam Vaughn, then we will also mention Pam. Talk a little bit about you all's role and y'all's background, if you don't mind.
I've been with United Way with the Success by 6 program for 5 years, and Pam's going on her 3rd year. We're both early childhood teachers, both retired from, I have 20 plus years experience, and she retired from Troup County School System. So combined, we both have 50 years, and we're still both certified and taught these children. So we take our skills and our backgrounds and we bring children to us. We have weekly programs where we just teach the way we did 10, 20, 30 years ago and make it fun, because we teach to the intellectual, the emotional, the social, the physical part of the child. But what's unique in our program is we have the parents come with them. We are actually looking for children that are not in school. We're looking right now, we focus on 3 and 4 year olds, maybe staying home with grandmama, or maybe Aunt Susie's keeping cousins and their own child. So just an opportunity to start that getting used to a school setting. We have a wonderful area down at the Bank of America building that's been donated and let us use by the Callaway Foundation, and we have set it up, have classroom settings, we have centers, we have books, we have art, we have music. So it's like a little miniature old-fashioned kindergarten room, colorful and happy. And the parents or the adult brings the child, stays with the child, and actually does the hands-on activities with the child. And then there's also a packet to go home each week with that child for the parents to work on at home. So again, just getting them ready to see a little bit what school will be like when they start.
Absolutely. You know, you hit so many great things there, Gail, in talking about the parents being there and kind of helping to assist a child in that reading. With your experience and Pam's experience, how important is that?
Oh, reading, and it is so important. There's a quote somewhere that if you'll read just 20 minutes a day, that creates 1 million words a year. And just talking to children, we find so many children, especially from the poverty-stricken homes or where parents are not as educated, they don't talk to the children. And actually talking to the children is the basis for that language development, basis for reading, and basic for a lot of school readiness. So
absolutely.
books are a big part of our program too. We have books, and we get to offer books out, and we've started putting them in the WIC offices. We're now taking them, we're partnering with the Troup County School System to take a book and a flyer to the pediatrician's office, just to try to get books into the homes, get books into the children's hands to encourage reading from parents.
So important.
It is.
And Pam, you talked a moment ago that you guys are reaching out the ages of 3 to 4 year olds, the stay-home moms and things of that nature. You mentioned that you guys are down in the basement there of Bank of America.
Right.
Just talk a bit about, you said the old classroom setting, and I was down there during the allocations last year for you all's program. If somebody wanted to come in and visit, because I was just kind of taken aback when I came in, I saw the colorfulness. If somebody wanted to come in and just kind of take a tour of your area, is that an opportunity for them to do that?
Sure. The downstairs area, I work about 4 days a week, and it is open if I'm there, and there's a key upstairs, so people are always welcome. I love showing it off because it is such a happy place. It's a colorful place. I think it was part of the old bank building, and then I think it was real estate offices, so we have the various rooms, and that's where we've got the center set up. Madie Smith was wonderful to donate some of her hand-me-downs, so we've done it on a very, very, very low budget to set it up, and between Pam and I, we've used some of our old school supplies, and then we've had some donated too. So people are always welcome, or if they want to call the United Way office and request a time, I would be happy to meet with them and would love to show it off or have people. We are going to have, I can go ahead and tell, on September the 13th, we're going to have an open house. It's going to be from 10 to 11:30. Mama Jama's going to be there. Everybody loves Mama Jama.
That's right.
So we would like for people to come by and we'll have a little sampling of what the classes will be about. We'll have little centers and little activities set up for the parents and the children to work together. So we'd love for people to come anytime.
All right, well, very good. Talk a little bit about, and I know that you say you're normally there, a couple of days a week. Talk about your hours and the flexibility that you all can kind of cater to the needs of the parents and the students. Talk about that if you don't mind.
Right, what we're doing each year is different. I've been in this position for 5 years, and it sort of changes every year. I started out I did not have this wonderful space downstairs, so I would move down to the civic room, which is upstairs, and try to set it up, make it friendly, and I started a program called Color My World, which was again school readiness, and I would focus on a color each week. It was an 8-week program, again for parents and children, where everything we did, looked at red, we spelled red, we read books about red, we looked at red apples, and we tasted red strawberries, and we tied red ribbon around the right arm. So just we cram a lot in an hour and a half. So that was aggravating because every morning, when we did this, I was having to haul stuff down the hall and fix it up. So anyway, we got the space downstairs. So year before last, we ended up having 3 programs. We had our normal Tuesday morning, and we decided then to coincide with the school system. We run September through May. But then we had a request from several Korean mothers, and so we had a second class at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays. And then we had another request from some children that we had that had started pre-K, but that were just struggling socially, having a hard time getting along with other children. So we met twice a month with them, just at 3 when they got out of class, just to help with the little social development of that. Sometimes one of my goals this year is if parents come with a smaller sibling, sometimes we have a 1-year-old or toddler or 2-year-olds. If we have enough, I'm really looking for a volunteer that could come just this 1 day a week to go in with the younger ones, so the parents there can truly focus on their 3- and 4-year-old. The little ones, we're glad to have them, but they can't give their full undivided attention to the 3- and 4-year-olds if they've got another smaller
child. Absolutely.
So, and we have lots of flexibilities. That's what I love about the job.
Lends you that flexibility. Now, you talked about volunteering. If there was someone that was listening and they would say, well, hey, I wouldn't mind coming in maybe a couple hours a day. Is that an opportunity for them? And if they can, give them your contact information if you don't
Sure,
mind.
sure. I have 2 or 3 ways they can volunteer. One is they could always come to this class and just be an extra set of hands in case there are small children there. They could take them, and the beauty of it is the windows all have, the rooms have windows so you can see into them, and we could leave the door open, but that's one option. Or they could just pull them together and have a story time and little activity for them, or just let them play. We have enough stuff, just some playtime, which play is so important too, and that gets left out.
I've been saying that place is so beautiful. They probably want to do more play.
So play is important. So that's one opportunity. And again, if somebody would just be willing to commit to every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, then we could maybe reach out to some younger children that are staying at home with moms. Another volunteer opportunity, we have a program called Weekly Reader. And that was started 3 years ago, where I had, and you are one, so thank you very much, where it started over at Mady Smith, where a person from the community would go in and just simply read to the children and talk with the children. And one of the differences I ask them to do is just to talk maybe about a career. It doesn't necessarily have to be a policeman or a fireman, but just something.
Employment of some nature.
Right. And then also talk about when they graduate from high school, just to plant that seed. And I feel like if these children can hear that from different people every week from September through May, then they know, I'm supposed to graduate from high school, and it will be instilled in them, because so many of them
just don't
think that's an option. We have expanded from Mady Smith. Last year we had 3 locations. We had Pride and Joy, we had Teaching, Loving, and Caring, and then we had Mady Smith. And this year we are expanding and going to include Kathy. So there are 4 locations, so the program is growing, and I do all the coordinating, and I really just ask for about 30 minutes a week of your time.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, me going out to Pride and Joy, and it is very rewarding just to go there and to read to the young kids and to see their eyes light up when you walk in the room, and they all, have questions and stuff of that nature. So it's very important what we do as you said, mentors, or just a role model for the kids, or someone that just gives them extra attention. So it's a wonderful thing that we do, wonderful thing that you and Pam are doing down there, taking your time to help our young people be successful by 6. So Gail, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show today and sharing this information. And by all means, want to come back so you can tell us a little bit more about the class that will be enrolling and talk about how successful they will become, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Gail, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining City Week this week. My guests have been the director from the American Red Cross, Connie Hensler, as she talked about October being Fire Prevention Month and also being a volunteer if you like to do that. During the month of October, they will be handing out smoke detectors to those homes that need one. Also, we had on the director of Success by 6, Gail Gordon, as she talked about their program and how they assist young people becoming successful by the age of 6. So ladies and gentlemen, by all means, if you'd like to volunteer for either one of those very worthwhile agencies here in our community, give them a call at the contact information that they gave you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.